Sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you all. It is a great pleasure to be able to join and address the 8th Sharq Youth Conference here in Gaziantep, all the way from London. My name is Leanne Mohamad and I am a British-Palestinian. And I want to say a few words tonight about my story and why I believe, although not atypical to the stories of Palestinians dispersed around the world, why I truly believe that we are at a turning point. That Gaza has taught us all the meaning of what it means to live. الأخوة والأخوات الكرام السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يسعدني للغاية أن أنضم إليكم وألقي كلمتي في مؤتمر الشرق الشبابي الثامن هنا في غازيانتاب قادمة إليكم من لندن. أنا ليان محمد، ناشطة بريطانية من أصول فلسطينية في مجال حقوق الإنسان ومرشحة سابقة للبرلمان البريطاني. أولاً بحب أني أشكر حضوركم في هذا المؤتمر المميز للشباب، وحضوركم فعلاً يعكس روح التضامن والتكاتف التي نحن بحاجة إليها في هذه الأوقات. وبحب أني أشارككم الليلة بعض الكلمات عن قصتي، ولماذا أعتقد أن قصتي رغم أنها ليست فريدة بالنسبة لقصص الفلسطينيين المنتشرين حول العالم تشير إلى أننا نقف عند نقطة تحول. لقد علمتنا غزة معنى الحياة. وستكون كلمتي بالكامل باللغة الإنجليزية، ولكن سيكون هناك ترجمة فورية متاحة لكم جميعاً. وأهلا وسهلا بكم في آفاق عالم جديد. Now, in the past, we Palestinians believed that if there was access to the internet and digital media in 1948, like today, Palestinians could live stream the Nakba in real time, and the international community would have intervened to prevent it. That my grandparents would not be refugees, they would still be living in their homes in Palestine. How naive we were, because it's never been about a lack of evidence. It's about the very refusal to see us Palestinians as human beings. I am the granddaughter of 1948 Nakba survivors who, among 750,000 other Palestinians, were forcibly expelled by Zionist militias, ending up as refugees in Lebanon. And like so many others, they thought it would be only a matter of days, weeks, or at most months before their return. But they never returned and were permanently forced out of their homes and homeland. And now they've been displaced once again from their refugee camp in South Lebanon to seek shelter, as the impunity afforded to Israel has now emboldened its leaders to launch assaults in Lebanon, killing thousands and forcing millions there to flee their homes. My grandparents were both born in Palestine before the Nakba, yet they were of the first to be uprooted from their land. My grandfather, may Allah have mercy on him, died when I was very young. He lived a life of struggle, a man torn apart by the brutality of occupation, whose heart remained in Palestine, but was never able to return. And my grandmother continues to live in that same refugee camp. The Nakba was not just a one-off event of expulsion, but an ongoing process that you are all witnessing today, live and televised. This is a war on all Palestinians, an entire people, an entire identity. And for us Palestinians, there is no P in PTSD. And the family trauma that we have endured for decades is never ending. We Palestinians grew up waking up every day to news of our people humiliated, arrested, beaten, shot and killed. Our parents grew up with that, and so did our grandparents. I grew up knowing of the struggles of my grandparents and the dislocation that comes with occupations and land dispossession. My childhood was happy, but morose at the same time. And when I was young, the horrible episodes in Jerusalem and the West Bank were fresh memory all around me. And I saw with horror the continued settlement activities and the horrendous assaults on Gaza, which they euphemistically called mowing the lawn. And this all had an impact on my young mind, as I think it did for all Palestinians and indeed young Muslims that I grew up with. It's an unsettling feeling, but it burns a desire to seek justice within you. And I think it's this residual anger that gave me, alhamdulillah, a feeling that I could never just live a life without calling for justice. And today, when I face challenges, I think back to my grandmother and what she went through after 1948. And I am blessed to have such strong women in my life. Now let me tell you the story of how my activism journey actually began. Some of you here may recognize me as the girl who spoke out and was silenced, or the girl who was censored for hoping for freedom. When I was 15 years old, I was called an ISIS girl for winning a speakers competition where I raised the issue of Palestine. My English teacher at my high school nominated me to take part in the Jack Petchey Speak Out Challenge, the largest speaking competition for young people in the world. And I delivered a speech titled Birds, Not Bombs, and it won first place. Amongst over 25 representatives from different schools around the borough, it won first place with rapturous applause from the audience. And my basic message was, Palestinians, my people, were human beings, and their plight was a stain on humanity. Now, after winning the competition, I was extremely proud of my achievement. The video went viral. Embarrassingly, you can still see it online, but that's when the hate really started. At first, it was a trickle, then a barrage. Online trolls bombarded my school's Twitter account, which had to be shut down. Then videos were made about me, labeling me a good little ISIS girl. And I was subjected to an avalanche of online abusive comments just for speaking about Palestine. I became known as a 15-year-old suicide bomber, an ISIS recruiter who needs to be burnt alive, an evil, anti-Semitic KKK Nazi schoolgirl who needs to be jailed permanently. And believe me, this was just the tip of the iceberg, just for speaking about Palestine. The police were called, and they could only advise to shut down my Twitter, to effectively be quiet, and this would eventually go away. But I refused to be silent. It was a confusing time, but a formative one for me, and the pain taught me one thing: never succumb to their intimidation. Silence is defeat. It's a form of inactive participation in a crime. You become an accessory in a settler colonialism that wants you to trade lives for an inconsequential life. I stood my ground, and then the support started pouring in. The hashtag #LetLeanneSpeak went viral, and I received overwhelming support from so many people that I didn't even know. With pain comes learning, and with the support of my family and my friends, I learned a valuable lesson about resistance, about determination. See, with pain comes resilience. That was the lesson I learned from my grandparents, and resilience is what the people of Gaza today are teaching us all. You don't hear of people that give up on faith and family when they face this horrendous onslaught. In fact, what you see are upright people that are teaching us how to live. Not live lives of inconsequence, but to live lives that matter, lives that will make us feel, at the end of our time, that we tried to make a change. And even if we don't achieve this change in our lifetime, we made something of our lives. Now, when this nightmare was imposed on us, who would have thought a year later we would be where we are today? It has been 1 year, yet it feels like a lifetime. And what is happening in Gaza today can no longer be described as genocide. It is even beyond mass extermination. It is total erasure. But I refuse, sisters and brothers, to believe that Gaza is but rubble and death. Gaza is a symbol. Gaza is a teacher. Gaza is a turning point. Gaza is humanity, and Gaza is me. And we are all Gaza. Gaza has broken us all. Gaza has exposed us all. Gaza has revealed the stark realities of life. Gaza has taught the world the profound meaning of faith and resistance, and awoken us all to our broken politics. It has come to symbolize all that is horrid and distorted in this world to an unjust order that should no longer prevail. Now, when the slaughter of the people of Gaza began over a year ago, I vowed to myself that life would never be the same. We cannot and will not stand by whilst bombs drop on innocents. Bombs that were made where I live in the United Kingdom by munitions companies licensed by our British government. And I realised that to stop this genocide, we needed to make the politicians listen. And on the 4th of July this year, I brought a senior member of the Prime Minister Keir Starmer's cabinet, now Health Secretary Wes Streeting, to within 500 votes of defeat. I stood as the independent parliamentary candidate for the London constituency of Ilford North, and I received 15,119 votes, and the Labour Party's Wes Streeting, 15,647. He had all the money, he had all the party machinery behind him, but we built a people-powered movement from the ground up, and we brought people together. And so I want to tell communities all around the world that what we did here was to run a lean campaign. It was focused, strategic, people-powered, and above all, it had heart. We developed a new way of campaigning, and we had volunteers join us from near and far. And this dedication is rare in a country where the political class looks down upon the efforts of civic engagement. But while the political establishment seeks to divide us, I have shown that elections can be fought on the basis of hope and not fear. You see, women like me do not stand for elections. We are meant to be seen and not heard by a political class that cares little for our lives, worries, and communities. Until now, a sewn-up electoral system has ensured that only one of two parties could have a realistic chance of winning. These parties offer little of value. They contain many vacuous people, careerists, unintelligent, and unintelligible. But my campaign has shown that change is possible when you have hope. And the lesson that we taught them during this last election is that good people will stand up to this corrupt political class. So why did I decide to stand? In a word, Gaza. Gaza was the reason why me, why you, and why so many good people across the world decided enough was enough. Gaza symbolizes something greater. It brought us out of our slumber and made us realize that this political system is broken. The two-party system is rigged against us. It forces us to choose the lesser of two evils until we cannot see anything but evil. And that's what the Labour and Conservative parties, Democrats and Republicans are today, two sides of the same rusty coin. My generation has moved beyond the two-party duopoly that restricts the political appetites of ordinary people. We have seen through the corporate media that looks to construct a charade of difference, a mirage of freedom only to stifle any attempt to speak truth to power. We young people have seen through all of this. And Gaza is changing an entire generation for the good. We are freeing ourselves from a system that has polluted our air, our politics, our minds, and our souls. Young people today have a greater cause, and Gaza has ignited a passion within us that will be hard to extinguish. Now, people told me that when I stood for Gaza, I was a dreamer, that I was wasting my time and energy. Yet I came within 500 votes of defeating a senior government minister. If you believe in yourself, you can make change. So don't lose hope, because Gaza is a seed, and its martyrs have fertilized our minds and our hearts. So let the passion for justice that burns within every single one of us never be extinguished. And let's continue to hold the structures, the institutions, the businesses, and the politicians to account. And don't accept the status quo. Instead, make this past year, however painful, a moment in our lives where we vow to change the world and to wipe away this facade of a political establishment. My main message is continue. And do not lose hope, because you are the hope of the Palestinian people right now in Gaza, in the West Bank, in refugee camps, in the diaspora, all around the world. It is you, young people, who are giving us the hope. So keep showing up, keep speaking up, keep Palestine viral, keep posting on social media, keep targeting companies complicit in these human rights violations, keep boycotting, keep organizing, keep the momentum going. Now is the time for you to channel your rage into action. We are all simply visitors in this life, and what we do is less about us, it's more about the future that we participate in creating. And we have to keep fighting injustice, not for Palestine's sake only, but for humanity, for human rights, against supremacy, against racism, and against imperialism. The numbers so far have been amazing. The tide is truly turning, and the fight for justice is now. And we need every single one of you to join us, because as long as this oppression continues, then so will our activism and our global resistance. But let me tell you something tonight, and take this away with you. We will be the generation to dismantle this system of oppression. So let's not be silent to a system that wants to buy our complicity. Let's not be a generation that walked by whilst people suffered. And let's look beyond our immediate comforts and think about what we owe the people around us. And let Gaza be our teacher. Don't stop talking about Palestine, and inshallah together we will see a free Palestine within our lifetimes. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you.